I've got the author Seth Wickersham coming in studio next hour. And this book on quarterbacks revealed that Caleb Williams last year did not get any heads up or too much guidance from the coaching staff on how to watch film or what film to watch. And I thought to myself, and there's Tyson Bagent in the room as well, who's we all know hasn't got a lot of time in the league. And I'll be honest with you, Mark, I thought of the Hard Knocks moment involving you back in the day with the Jets. If I'm not mistaken, was it Brunell who basically told you need a binder? You know what I mean? Like you got to write notes, right? It was
Kevin O'Connell,
right?
We brought in Rich Gannon my rookie year,
right?
Just to go through your process through the week. What do you do on Monday?
Right.
What do you do on Tuesday? How do you work out? How do you eat? How do you take notes? We would watch tape. He would throw it up on the screen and say, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "The defense." What about it? Well, what about it?
Right.
Well, he goes, "Well, what's the front?" It's an over. Okay, so are you making a grouping of over fronts that you're going to see? Because I would if I were you. Because what else are you going to get? I said, "Well, I don't know." He goes, "Well, if you see over, you're probably going to see an under. You might see a bear. You might see a jam. You might see." And I was just like, "Whoa. Okay, yeah, let's go." Boom. And we started categorizing fronts. And then he said, when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, what are you looking at? So, well, you got to see the front first, where the backer's at, peek the corners, and then I got to keep my eyes on the safeties. He's like, great. 3-by-1, the backside safety is going to tell you the story. You better watch him all the time. One eye on him almost all the time. And then the premier players, you got to keep another eye on him. You better have 8 eyes, And so he was reminding me of what this position really demands. Him, Brunell, O'Connell. And I was blown away just going to practice last year, watching the Hard Knock stuff, that they didn't have a veteran. There were guys out there. Go get one of these guys that is not going to play. That's basically a coaching cleats. Somebody like a Josh McCown, right? Obviously he's coaching now, but somebody like that towards the end of their career where if you get in a jam and he's got to play 2 games, hopefully he can win one of them. But we're not expecting this guy to start 10 games for us. He's here to help the rookie.
Right. And McCown's in Minnesota right now on KOC's staff. And kind of, I guess, this subject matter, I brought it up to drive to the question of now Ben Johnson's there. Yeah. Right.
Well, I think that's why it's been such a rude awakening.
That's what I'm saying. So what you just mentioned, again, we don't know the exact details of whatever conversations Caleb was having with the staff that was, as we all know, turned over mid-season. But is this the stuff that's being sent in Caleb's direction and he's processing for the first time in a training camp and we're going to see against Minnesota? Like, is that what's happening? And if so, how do you think it's going to work?
Well, Mark? I think without obviously being there every day,
right.
My guess and my sense from talking to other people who are familiar with Ben Johnson, he's an intense guy. He's all about protocols and systems that he's created, that we're going to trust this system and this protocol, and you go through your checklist. And if it doesn't work, get down, throw the ball away, get us out of trouble. You're going to have to do that maybe a handful of times in the game, but another 2 handfuls of times in a game, I'm going to put you in a really good spot, and you're just going to deliver the ball exactly where I tell you. Like, that's kind of the vibe you get from talking to Jared Goff about his former coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of efficacy is high. He wants a very high standard. And to the point where early in training camp, I remember that article comes out that Caleb got kicked off the field with the first team offense. I'd bet just about anything that what happened was they had some shifts and motions and whatever, and guys just weren't lining up right, and it didn't work out right. And he just said, hey, get the hell out of here. If you can't do the pre-snap stuff, you can't run plays for me. Move. Next group. You know what I mean? And it's not because he doesn't think he's going to be the starter, right? It's more of just making a point. It's almost like raising your kids, like, hey, is this the way you're going to act? All right, then I got some chores for you to do around the house, by the way. You know what I mean? Hey, that lawn looks a little long. Why don't you go mow it? Why don't you go pick up the dog poop in the backyard? And why don't you clean the pool? And they're just like, whoa, what happened? It's like, well, then don't act like a jerk or do what you're supposed to do. And so I think in those situations, that's different than what Caleb has experienced in college and last year in the NFL. So it was eye-opening for him and a little shocking, but he's one of those guys who's so smart. He's so sharp. He can read the room. He's just going to rise with that tide.
You do think so?
You do think so?
You do think so?
I really think Ben's going to push him in the right way to get him to perform. And that's part of it. As a coach, you're part psychologist, not just a teacher. You got to understand how to connect with these guys and bridge the gap with these guys. How was he raised? How do his parents talk to him? How can I get him to get a little angry without getting reckless? You know, how do I push his buttons a little bit? How do I get this guy to get juiced up and get the rest of the players around him excited? Do I have to love up Tyson Bagent so he gets a little jealous? And then, oh shoot, now I got to perform. You know, whatever it takes, you got to get it out of him. And so I think Ben Johnson was toying with that. And a lot of this training camp, the first time you get a quarterback that you're excited about, that you think has a ton of potential, you throw everything at him. And then as the season starts, you can kind of spoon feed him what works. And then we keep working towards the growth of this position and this player.